Alright, what up? This is Lee Smith. We're back here in Brooklyn at Mona Lisa Studios. This is the Mission Statement, episode 7, and we're in the presence of greatness today. We have Alexis Sablone. Thank you for coming through.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. I mean, this is Super Bowl right now. I guess you're not a sports fan.
No, I didn't even.
It's literally the Super Bowl, like right now.
So are you guys all like sad to be here?
I don't know. We can't make us sad. No, we stand with Cap. That's why.
Okay.
Yeah, we stand with Cap.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, I like sports. They're fun, but I didn't even know it was a Super Bowl. So.
Yeah, it's going on today.
Okay.
Let's take it back. So, where did you grow up? And
I grew up in Connecticut, a town called Old Saybrook. It's, bottom, middle, kind of.
How was that?
It was nice. I mean, I will never live there again, but it was nice. Kind of like not much to do. I was the only. There wasn't any skate scene.
Mm-hmm.
Couple plastic benches, like loading dock.
Was BA from around close?
Groton.
Is that close?
Donnie Barley and Brian Anderson, like maybe 20 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Old Saybrook's like bottom middle of Connecticut, so it's like halfway between, like kind of closer to Rhode Island, but in like exactly halfway between like Boston and New York.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So it was kind of like, I guess, a little bit boring.
Yeah. Yeah, but I guess perfect for skateboarding because it gave me stuff to do.
What did you, as a kid, like before you skated, what were you into? Because, I mean, I've seen your parts, you like to jump down big stuff, so you were probably like...
I don't know, I was recently thinking about that, like what would I have, like how obsessed, like what would I have gotten into? I don't know, I was into like electronics and like robots and like building stuff, and which I guess I still like all that stuff. And I don't know, I've always played like basketball and.
So then what led you, how did you first start getting into skating?
I just saw it. I mean, it was, a different time. But, so the first time I saw it was just two kids in a parking lot. Had never seen it before, and yeah.
Did you like go up to them? Did you ever like meet them or? No,
I have no idea. I like, in my mind, one of them was doing a backside 180 and landed it. That was the only thing I saw landed. But I was at dinner. I remember, because I grew up with my mom, but would like have Wednesdays and weekends with my dad. So it was like a Wednesday night with my dad at some pizza place, and they were like out in the parking lot at night. But
so it was very intriguing. You were like, what the fuck is that? Like, it's
I mean, I guess so. It's like kind of, I don't know, it was a really long time ago. So the story I've told myself is, like, I don't know if there's certain things I remember really clearly, and I don't know, but as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, I want to do that.
After that, what was your first board? What board did you get?
I had a stereo. I've never been able to find the graphic again because it was kind of like a generic, it was like the wheel, like the logo, and then said like, it was black, it was like an 8.5, definitely the biggest board I've like ever skated. I skate a 7.5 to this day. But it was an 8.5. And it said like sound stereo in like a green to blue gradient.
Why did you buy that board of all the boards?
The graphic. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that there were different sizes, and it had a red top actually, which I know people like are.
People are obsessed with like the top color.
Well, people think that red tops are like bad luck, but I've always liked red. Yeah, or at least a lot of the people I'm around. I don't know where that started, but I always liked red tops. So I had a red top, and I liked the graphic, and I covered it with like really bad stickers. And
how old were you?
10.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
So you're pretty young.
Yeah, and I had like 60 millimeter wheel, like massive wheels, nicotine wheels, Venture feather lights.
That sounds like a good starter setup.
I mean, what's the difference? I couldn't do anything. I don't know.
I read somewhere that you like studied ollieing and like marked the board of where to place your foot.
Yes. Yeah, I would like, VHS, like pause it, but it has like the line, like kind of and just see where people's feet were, and like put like with my feet on the boards, like watching the TV, and like scratch a place on the like the foot placement, and run out to my garage and like try and be like, no, it didn't work, and like run back and like.
So how long did it take you to like ollie and start learning tricks and stuff?
Somewhere within the first year, like it's hazy because I mean I started at a new school when I was 10. So when I got my board, and when I started, the school wasn't in my town, but there was a group of like skaters, like the eighth graders that skated. So, and I don't know, I like jumped off a jetty or something like that. This right before school started, and broke my foot. So I started with crutches. And I hadn't really figured out how to ollie yet or anything, and I was like getting really frustrated with it. And so I started school, at a school with skaters, and I came in like on crutches with like my DC clockers and and they were like, oh, like do you, they'd never seen a girl that skated, and they'll go, you skate, and I was like, yeah, I skate, and I but I couldn't do anything. So as soon as the crutches came off, I was like, I told them I skate, I need to figure out how to do this.
Did you become friends with them? Did you guys skate together, or? We
didn't really, we would bring our skateboards to school and during recess, do ollies on the carpet, so until someone confiscated the board or something like that. But I skated with maybe by the next year, or by the end of that year, there were a couple, I would go and skate with them a couple times, but I mostly skated alone.
Skating's funny because it's it takes a long time to get it, and then once something clicks in your brain, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I learned to ollie, I learned to shove it, I learned to kickflip, I learned to heel flip, and then it just starts
But it's crazy how much that's all sped up now, how much the difference between being able to see something and just feeling around in the dark makes now I feel like people learn so much faster because they're, aside from a million YouTube
but you can
tutorials
see what the possibilities are now. I didn't know, I couldn't conceptualize, when I was young, I couldn't conceptualize that somebody could probably actually do certain things on a skateboard, so I would not think that it was possible.
Exactly, and now someone sees it on Instagram, and within 20 minutes, they're all doing a skate park or whatever. I was had no idea how to, was putting broomsticks in the road and had my feet on the nose and tail at first, and was trying to figure out how to levitate. I don't know, I had no idea. But I landed a kickflip in the first 6 months probably, but it was with with a body varial. I don't know, it was the only way I could get both feet on. But...
It took me a year to kickflip, so... Fucking whole year of trying kickflips.
The body, I think it was just by any, just because I did the 1 foot for a long, I would do 100 in a row. I was, in the street in front of my house, just landing with 1 foot over and over 100 times, and finally I don't know, the body varial, something clicked, kind of.
And then, so at some point you went to Woodward?
Yeah, I went to Woodward. So I had been skating about a year, and I went to Woodward in my first, that summer, which was the dream.
Do you feel like that really helped your progression in skating? Or,
I think it did. It's funny how often Woodward comes up in oh, where did you meet someone? Woodward. How, and that was and I think, I guess it helped my progression, and that, I had never seen so many skateboarders in one place in my life, and I also hadn't seen, there weren't skate parks on every corner like there are now. So so it was just kind of I don't know, a lot of skaters and skating all day, every day so I think it was, and I just met so many people there that I ended up I
making
still
connections
know.
And contact.
Yeah, all the, Jeremy, Zared, Eli, Lurker Lou, just all, the list actually goes on. So, yeah, in a way, I think it was like made a big difference. It was a big deal for me, you know.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was in my first.
How long when people go to Woodward, how long do they stay there? For a week?
I went for a week. I think the first year I went for a week, and then I went again for like 2 weeks.
Okay.
Maybe it was, I don't know. My first year there was it was full, so I couldn't get in. And then they like added a 13th week. I remember it was the 13th week, and there was a week where there were no like gymnastics, because at the original Woodward it was gymnasts but so there were no gymnasts, but they added it, so I like got in. But then it was like in the weeks leading up, we'd get these like voicemails like, oh, your daughter's like one of only 6 girls signed up for Woodward, like just making sure I still like wanted to go. And I think I was going with it was, 5th grade. My best friend was this girl, Lauren, who like didn't skate, but she was coming with me to Woodward. She was like, I'm gonna bring my roller skates. She was like coming. And finally it was like, okay, we were the last 2 left. And so she was like, oh, I'm not doing that. And I was like, oh, I wouldn't,
So
nothing could stop me.
Coming?
No, no. So I was the only girl in the camp. Yeah, like they had me in a cabin with the driver, like the woman that drove people to the hospital, and it was just us in a cabin, and it was like 600.
That's kind of, you got lucky that way.
Yeah,
in a sense. You're like, I just got one roommate. You guys have like fucking 300.
Yeah, yeah. No, I didn't care.
Even though she might have been a little.
Yeah, no, it was fine. I had like the time of my life. It was just funny because people would see me and be like, oh, you're like the girl. Because it was,
That one girl from Woodward.
The one girl I had a pink helmet then too.
So you come back and you go out of Woodward, you get back to home, and then you're a full-fledged skater now, right?
I don't know if that's how I felt then. No, but I was like learning, and there was like one of the closest skate parks was like Milford, Connecticut. It was like a little bit past New Haven from where I live, so like on the way to New York, but not. And there was a skate park there, so I would like take the train or like get there however I could on the weekends, and that's when I like had my first group of people that I skated with. So
yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Like, who was your crew at this point?
Yeah, so it was basically like during the week just alone skating, and then on the weekends, Trevor and Evan, like Trevor he skates for Weekend now. He's like a brother
really?
to me. Yeah, we're like still best friends.
Oh, cool.
And that was like my first skate friend.
Dope.
So we would have like, sleepovers and whatever. Like I would just stay there for the weekend, and so we could skate like spots around there, or skate the skate park, but then for the most part I just skated alone, like during the week.
I remember when I really got heavy into skateboarding, like everything that I was interested in before that kind of just faded away.
Yeah.
And like that's all you think about, and that's all you want to do, and it kind of just like takes over everything. Like, your whole thought process, and it's crazy.
Yeah,
right?
like making lists of like my wish, like tricks I want to learn, and then just in school at the CCS, like just circling all the stuff I wanted. I mean, I don't know. I had other stuff I was still, like a couple other things I was still like really obsessed with, but skating definitely. Like back then it was like I couldn't miss a day. If I missed one day, I felt like guilty and like this weird like guilt and worried that I lost all my tricks. I didn't skate for 24 hours.
So when does it get to the point where you're like reconnect with Jeremy and then Eli and all these dudes?
That was
Because you met them originally at Woodward, right?
Yeah, I met them at Woodward when we were all in the same like instruction group. So I think I was like 12 or something, and maybe 13, and then I think when I was maybe 15. Yeah, because my older sister went to college in Boston. And so I don't know if it was when she was starting, I don't know, but somehow we took a trip to Boston, and I had like Jeremy's number, and I like called him up. I was like, I'm in Boston. And so we met up and skated, and he brought me by Coliseum, and I met PJ. I mean, I had met PJ once before that, but I remembered, but he didn't remember that. But that's when Jeremy introduced me to all the Coliseum guys, and then PJ and all of them, and from there it just started, like, I would go back to Boston like every weekend after that.
How far is it?
2 hours.
2 hours?
Yeah.
Okay, so you'd go home, go to school, and then every week, all the weekends you'd spend in skating in Boston.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah,
actually.
eventually it was like, at some point it was like PJ would come and pick me up from high school like on Friday afternoon, and we'd like drive to Boston, and he was like the craziest driver I've ever met in my life, so he would make it to Boston in like an hour and
so on those
20
trips,
minutes, I don't even know.
on those drives, are you guys like talking about like wanting to be sponsored, and like what do you hope to achieve from like spending that much time?
Well, actually,
skating?
Well, in the car, I mean, the one vivid memory I have, I think I just like would take naps. I was tired from high school, and I would be like napping in the car and wake up, and the whole minivan would be like shaking, and he'd be like driving like this at like 120 miles an hour. But then we would go straight to like windowsills and just skate until like, I don't know, till the weekend was over. Like,
I guess I'm just saying, like, were you guys thinking about being sponsored, or were you guys?
No, I mean, I mean, you know, like, I guess you have like certain ambitions, or like your favorite company, or like dreams, kind of, but it's not like that was the.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's not like, oh, I'm like training right now to like make.
I feel like kids nowadays, that's the way they are.
I know. Well, I don't know what kids now. It's different now, but no, it was just like it was just like a really, for me, it was just, it was such an exciting time in like Boston, and having a crew like that, basically, and just all these kids from all the, not everyone's from like Boston proper, it's like from these surrounding towns, and everyone on the weekend like skating windowsills, like, or aquarium or wherever, and then just going around on missions, like skating around. I feel like that was Boston was my real, I skated mostly like Walmart parking lot in my town, and like my porch, or like the, in the winter, like my garage, and I would like skate through my town, but it wasn't really the same. That was like my first like really skating a city like consistently, like street skating, like with the whole group of people. So it was like, I don't know. And it wasn't like about being sponsored, or it was just kind of like magical kind of.
It's just something that happens because you're doing something that you love, and it's like organic, like it's gonna grow into that.
Yeah,
basically.
And I think that was, like you're obsessed with it.
Yeah,
so
you're
it's
obsessed.
And I think that was also I had like my friends in high school, like school friends and stuff, but I didn't really like socialize with them outside of school that much. At some point I was kind of just like,
you're like, let me get this done, so I can get back to what I really want to do.
Yeah.
So you guys are filming for the Wonderful Horrible Life.
Yeah.
And then obviously I know that you guys like kind of didn't think that it was gonna like blow up like it did.
I don't even remember. I remember like filming for it, but it wasn't, and my memory is like not always the greatest, but honestly, most of the skating there was just like, there was no camera, we were just skating. And then at some point, I remember like a few missions and like one road trip down to Miami and back that was like, oh yeah, we're making a video. But it's not like, there's a whole year, a period of time where I was just skating every weekend in Boston. Like it wasn't about like making a video,
Yeah, occasionally you get a trick on film, you're not really thinking about it, it's like.
I remember filming that whole thing in like a month, it was kind of like, oh, like, nollie heel off that, like do that, like, oh, we're going to Miami, like.
You're like, all right.
I don't know. I don't know. It's blurry, but it was kind of, it didn't feel like what it ended up being. I
It
don't know.
didn't feel like you were making this incredible thing. You were just like, all right, I'm just skating.
Yeah, I mean, I knew the people I was skating with were, I mean, I knew they were amazing. Like it was but it didn't really, I don't think I had any kind of like perspective on it. It was just kind of like, oh, I'm excited to be part of the crew, and we're just.
So what happens when the video comes out? You're doing your thing, the video comes out, it blows up.
Yeah.
Everybody loves PJ, loves all you guys. How does your life change after that?
I mean, the way I remember, well, I remember everyone like basically like, I don't want to say courting PJ, but kind of like trying like different companies and stuff, and he was impossible to like get a hold of on the phone. So people were like calling me or like trying to find out, like, do you know where PJ is? Like, and he was like right next to me, like, so that, and I mean, the way I remember it, like Ryan and Jeremy just like moved to California. There's like this mass exodus to like California or
I
something
remember when
like
Jeremy
that.
came out, he stayed at Mike Carroll's house,
Yeah.
and we were always hanging out. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was funny.
So at least the way I remember it, like everyone moved to California. I was maybe turning 17 or something like that. Or it was somehow like college, if I was gonna do it, was around the corner, on the horizon. I just remember thinking like, I don't wanna move to California. I wanna live in New York, and I wanna go to school. And I don't wanna just be doing this like skate thing. I don't know, I felt kind of like, what am I gonna skate
But you were
all
getting
day?
hooked up, right? Like who were you already?
Yeah, I think I skated for Element and S, and so did PJ, like like we skated for the same, whatever. And then I think we both quit Element around the same time. But I think that was before the video came out. I think around then is I started skating for the firm. And then.
Oh shit! I forgot you skated for the firm.
Yeah.
That team. I mean, that whole thing was so super sick.
Yeah, I love the firm. I mean, the firm was. I mean, I'd met Bob at Woodward when I was 12. You know, again, Woodward story. And I remember just calling him up and being like, "Can you get me on the firm?" Like, I don't know. I mean, like.
But it worked.
Yeah, I mean, Rodrigo and Javier were like two of my favorite skaters, and I was like, I'm skate for the firm, and I don't know. And somehow that worked. But yeah, so I was skating for the firm, and then, because I think then I started college. I remember sometime in college, like the firm went out of business, and I was just starting to like get paid a little bit by S, and I like quit S because, I don't know, I guess it stressed me out that they were paying me and I was starting school, and I just like didn't want to be.
So
like,
you felt like bad because they were paying you for like not.
It sounds
what
really
you felt
stupid.
like was
now
nothing?
I'm just like, man, I should have just taken the money. What was I? No, but I think I didn't want. It felt like skating was at this point where it was either going to become a responsibility or like I could have other responsibilities and I could just skate to skate. And I just wanted that. Like it felt really stressful to me somehow that skating was gonna, like, the idea of that as my sole responsibility and like getting paid for that, I didn't want that. And I knew I had other things that I wanted to like pursue and focus on, and I just wanted skating to be like
And that
fun
was totally your own, like no pressure from your parents, or?
No.
Like that was all you felt that by
Yeah,
yourself?
I remember like when I quit my spot, I remember when I made that decision, I felt really like, I don't want to say free. I felt like
liberated.
a huge, I felt kind of like, it felt like the right choice, you know? No, my mom, I mean, they weren't really, I mean, I think my mom would have probably thrown a fit if I didn't go to college, but I wasn't really factoring that into my decision because I was going to do what I was going to do. I just, you know, she wasn't really, she's like never seen me skate to this day. She knows I do it, but she's like never really been.
I'm
like,
sure she's watched your videos, right?
My mom.
I mean, you're all on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah, but whenever I say like, oh, I have to do this thing, she's like, where like will that? Like, where is that? Like, she doesn't get the whole like digital space. I'm like, I don't know, on Instagram. I can like hear her taking notes in the background. Like, what is Instagram? Like, she doesn't. I don't know. It's just. I mean, she's. I don't know, really smart lady, but out of the loop.
Yeah.
Of all that.
Some people are just not into it. Like,
I mean, why would you be if you don't, But yeah, no, it was my decision, and I just,
So you quit all your sponsors, and then you go to school here in New York, right? At Columbia.
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to school? Are you skating at all? Like.
Yeah, skating. Just uptown, like just kind of, well, more in the summers, like skating was kind of, especially once I started studying architecture, it was like I stopped like sleeping basically. I was just like in the studio all the time. Mm-hmm. And I would just kind of, I remember like nights in the studio, like when I knew I was gonna pull an all-nighter, trying to like finish something. And to wake up, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go skate for like an hour, and I would just go skate somewhere uptown. No, just like go skate flat ground somewhere, like I don't know, like in Morningside Park, like in the park, like at some crazy hour. But yeah, I didn't really have like a skate crew. I wasn't like in any kind of scene or anything like that. I just would go skate alone.
You were just doing your own thing.
Which is what I kind of. Except for stuff in Boston. Yeah, that's how I grew up doing it. I mean, I remember when I moved to New York, I hated it at first because I felt, especially with skate, like I felt like I could never be alone or like have any, and I didn't want people to like see me skating.
Yeah.
I wanted to just like be alone.
Do your own thing.
Yeah. And I remember that like really like stressing me out until, I don't know, at some point. Like, I loved it. But
the only other pro skater that I can think of off the top of my head that has a college degree is Jimmy Gorelik.
Really? No, there are more.
I swear to God, there's not that many out there.
Walker Ryan.
I mean...
I don't know. I'm sure there are more. Ocean Howell.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm
sure
not the one to
I'm
make
sure
a
there's
list,
many.
yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
no, you don't have to make a list. I'm sure
Yeah.
there's more. I just can't think of any. Like.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I really like school.
And
if I had a lot of money, I would just be going to school all the time.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'd be skating for fun and be like.
I wanted to go. I want to go
all
back
the
to school
time.
sometimes.
Yeah. I don't know. It's not for everyone, but I like it.
So when you're going to school and stuff, are you like keeping up with skating, or you know what's going on with it, or
here and there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like. Yeah. Here and there. I was never the one to, I had videos I watched every day and like certain magazines that I like knew cover to cover, but for the most part I was never like, you couldn't bring me to a spot and be like, tell me everything that's been done here, and I would be able to give you a list. Like, so it's not like I was keeping up like that, because I had never been like that on it.
I'm not that guy. I'm not that person.
Yeah, I mean, but a lot of people in skating are. It's like a bunch of obsessive people, which is pretty funny. But yeah, no, I was kind of like out of the loop and would pay attention here and there.
So then you graduate. What are you doing after that when you get out of school?
I started working at a restaurant like up by Columbia. I mean, I knew I didn't want like a real. I'm not say real. I didn't want like a normal job.
Like a 9 to 5.
Yeah. And I just wanted to like do my own projects, like do art stuff, and like have a job so I could pay rent.
Yeah.
So I was working at this restaurant.
What kind of restaurant was it?
I don't know, like New American, or I don't know. They're like
American fare.
smoothies and like hollandaise on the weekends. I don't know. But it was. I mean, I started as like a busser, and then I was like a barista, and then a server. I mean, you made like $200 cash every day, and I would
That's pretty good money.
Yeah, I mean, well, after I graduated, I moved. My first apartment out of college was in Bushwick, but the restaurant was still all the way up by Columbia, so it was like start work
That's
at 7. Yeah, I would leave at 5 in the morning, but you were done by 3, and had like $200 cash, so it was good. Or to me, it was good. But then there was a kitchen fire, and no one got hurt or anything, but the restaurant like shut down for, I don't know how many months it ended up being, but we were all like collecting unemployment and stuff, and that's when, that was right around, it was Manny Mania that I think Eli won, whenever that was. Some whole, like, a bunch of skaters in New York. And I remember going to that, and I don't know who told me about it, but someone mentioned, like, the Maloof Money Cup, like this contest, and that you could win 25 grand for first place. Like, and the girls, too. And so... So immediately I was, I mean, I never had a desire to do a contest before that. Yeah, so I was like, so I somehow like weaseled my way, I don't know, I got into that contest as an alternate, and that was the first contest I did. And
well, I want to talk about that. Okay. You got in as an alternate,
yeah,
but you were pretty strategic about how you got in, right?
Are you thinking of the X Games after that?
Is that after that?
That was the next yeah. So I skated Maloof Money Cup, and I mean, it was a huge disaster. Like, my wheel fell off in the middle of my run, and like I hit my head twice. I was like but I won the Destroyer Award, so they gave me like a Sawzall.
What is a Sawzall?
It's like to cut knobs off I don't know. Oh, yeah, I left it there. Right. I didn't. But I was like, I'm not gonna fly back. Then there was like a whole circuit of then it was like Do Tour.
So you're in the circuit now.
Well, so this is all within like 2 weeks. I mean, Maloof happened, and then a week and a half later, like something like that, Do Tour happened in Boston. And then after that, somehow I was like, someone called, I don't know how I figured how this happened, or how they communicated this to me, probably an email, that I was like an alternate in the X Games. And that's the one that Lorena Lima, is that what you're talking about? How I was strategic about?
I think she was like, somebody was hurt.
Yeah. So she was in, but she sprained her ankle like really badly right before the contest. And like last place in the contest would, like, she couldn't kickflip, like with her, she like really sprained it, but if she got last place, she would win money. She'd win money. So I was the first alternate, so I was like, can you let me skate, and I'll pay you what you would have gotten for last place. And you don't have to do shit. You don't have to, yeah. I was like, I'll pay you $1,000, but can I be in the contest? And she was down, so yeah. And then you won, though, right? Or you won a bunch of money? I won a bunch of money. So how much money did you get? I won like 20 grand or something like that. So I paid her $1,000, and 19 grand. That's fucking awesome. Yeah. So at that point, I was like, oh, contest, or yeah. So you're in the contest, and then at that point, like, you start doing a lot. You're making a little bit of money, and you just... Well, it was just contest to contest. Then I came back, and the restaurant reopened. So I was really? I was still working there. Oh, you went back? Yeah, because I needed like some structure. Yeah. I don't know. And then so there were contests, but back then there were like 2 contests a year. It was like X Games and Maloof, or X Games and Do Tour, or whatever. Yeah. And if you won money, and if not, and you're paying, I'm like paying for my own flights to get to these places. Like, it's not, but that was right when I started skating for Organica. And I was getting S again, I think, yeah. So I was going on like some skate trips too, and doing other skating. And that's when I moved to LA, actually. Oh, okay. But not for skating, it was for like a girlfriend. Oh. So that's when I quit the restaurant. Yeah. So with all these contests, I know there's been a lot of talk about like the structure of contests being kind of like sexist. Do you feel that way? Like you're in... The structure of it? Or not the structure, but just the way... The money? The money. The money is like, has definitely been yeah. But that's... Is that changing at all now? I'm a little out of the loop, so You're not in the contest loop? Yeah, I think now, finally, because the Olympics, stuff has to be even. But I mean, for a while it was like, I mean, X Games has been even for a while because a bunch of like the vert women, this was the year before I started doing it, but they like boycotted. They were like, yeah, we're not gonna skate unless
really?
you make the, yeah. So they like fought for it and they made it even after that. But then with Street League, for example, I mean, the discrepancy is like massive. I mean, it's like the guys would win like $250,000 and the girls would win 30 grand.
Yeah.
So like,
it doesn't really like add up.
Yeah. I mean, now the last one I just skated in Rio, I think it was even.
Okay.
But
they're finally like getting with it now.
yeah, I don't know.
What about skateboarding in general? I mean, I know like young men are generally morons in general. You know, we say a lot of dumb shit, but besides that, like, do you feel like in the skateboard industry there's elements of it that are like sexist? Or,
yeah, I mean, I think that on the one hand, I have so many close guy friends that skate. You know, I've grown up skating either alone or with guys. Like, it's not like I have a crew of girls that I skate with, or and like my friends, like they've always been supportive, and a lot of my close guy friends have always. It's not like I've been like put down on a daily basis or anything like that. Yeah. So on the one hand, it's always been, at least in the circle I've been in or wherever I've been, like people have been, positive and like really supportive and just like, oh shit, like you're a girl and you skate and
cool.
Whatever, cool. But I think that definitely like there are parts of the industry that when it comes to money and like getting paid, it's always kind of like easy to get free stuff and a lot harder to get
to make a living
off of it. And I mean, that's just, I think it's kind of, still a male-dominated industry, and a lot of the people with the money, like calling the shots, are, guy skaters or older guy skaters that are probably like, I don't know, well, would I rather skate like you or would I rather skate like you? So I'm gonna give the money to you. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how the decisions are made, and I think that that's like, yeah, and same with contests. It was always kind of this like, oh, well, yeah, you're sick, but there's no market, or there's no, like...
And you don't agree, like, there is a market, obviously. It's growing.
Yeah.
I think like nowadays it's a lot different than...
Well, I've always taken issue with just kind of, I don't know, I'm not in marketing or anything, but it's kind of like, why can I, like... I'm a female skater. Can you only market me to female? Like, are girls only allowed to be inspired by other girls? Like, couldn't a guy like see a girl skating and be like, oh, that's sick, and like that, because
I mean, it makes perfect
sense. I
had
had like male role model. Most of my favorite skaters growing up were guys. Like, why is it? I don't know. I just think it's kind of, it's just stupid, basically. And I mean, I think it's definitely changing now. I mean, just go outside and you'll like on any given day you'll see girls skating by.
For sure.
And that's, I mean, I've definitely noticed that just in the last few years, like dramatically, like that's changed. But I think the market was always there, just like anything. It's like you have to put money into something to make it grow or to see it, and that requires someone that has vision or wants to take a risk, or I don't know. But
maybe that's what it is. I mean, people are just, I don't know, scared to take a risk, or who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, you just killed it in Brazil, so you got some good money down there.
No, I blew it in Brazil.
Did you? What did you get? Like 3rd place or something, right?
Didn't qualify. I qualified like 4th, and then I like didn't land anything in the finals.
Really?
Yeah. And they only paid a 3rd now.
Oh, okay. Maybe I watched
So
the
yeah, we'll just keep that one in. Don't watch the finals. It was really bad. Yeah. No, I mean things are, yeah. I'd say it's still not like equal, but I mean I'm only looking from it's definitely getting better, you know.
Well, I mean it's interesting for me. I would definitely want to hear your perspective on it because I'm sure you have obviously you experience things that I never would think about or you know.
I mean to me I've always gotten, I'd been skating, like filming street stuff and skating a lot of street and whatever, but because for a while people only like saw me in contests, I'd always get shit from, even my friends, just like, oh, it's like you're just skating contests, like contests are lame, like kind of like, what about street skating? And I just think that, and that was always frustrating because I felt like, not to like cry about it, but for guys, I felt like there was more of a choice. Like, okay, you want to skate contests, like go for it. But if you are kind of like, no, contests aren't for me. Like, I don't want to
like
perform on TV,
or
whatever.
Like MJ or
then there was an option to like make a living skating street, and there wasn't that same option. Didn't really exist. So it was kind of like, if you were good enough to make money doing these contests and you wanted to be skate, then, you really didn't have much of you could skate for fun and have a regular job, but if you were trying to not have to do that, then it's like, then you better get your ass in a contest.
Yeah, see, that's interesting, because I've never thought about, as a female skater, that maybe the only way that you can make a living is just to skate contests, and contests are fucking nerve-wracking. It's like, I don't want to.
It's horrible.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It feels great when you win, and it's really shitty when you lose. But yeah, so I think that, I don't know. I think that now, at least from what I've seen, it's like there's more of a willingness to pay women or put money behind them, but at the same time, especially because it's coinciding with the Olympics and all this stuff, which to a corporate company is like, the Olympics, so we're gonna put our money there, but it's...
Are you gonna go to the Olympics?
I'm gonna try.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be... I get that nervous in Street League, can you imagine?
I was gonna say, that would be the ultimate fucking test of nerves.
Mind-blowing that's like happening, Like, did you ever think that skateboarding...
My last contest was in Vancouver. Slam City Jam.
Nice.
And I
used to watch those videos.
I didn't land one trick, and I cried under the ramp.
Oh my god. Yeah, dude, I'll still cry when I blow. It just sucks. It's like
that shit sucks.
It sucks.
And P-Rod, I told this story on Bob's Shirt, I think, but P-Rod was on our team, City Stars, and Mikey Taylor, and they got first and second, and I got last or something, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing
Where's Lee
here?
crying? To me, it's just the most it's it's the opposite of when you're trying to film something, where it's kind of like, maybe I'm not that good at this, but I will just stay here I will just try this until my body breaks or I land it. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna not leave until I do this. And in a contest, it's like, okay, go, and it's like, first try.
But
you have to be able to do a first try, and you can't feel your legs. And
the structure of Street League is essentially like the Olympics, in a sense. I think. Because it's like, okay, well, I guess I'm thinking more of the best trick. Yeah. Because it's like, all right, go. Land it. How well do you do it? You have one try.
One try.
Do it perfectly. You get a fucking 8.7 or whatever you get.
Yeah.
So, structurally...
they have to quantify it somehow to and that's... Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know how they... I'm still trying to figure out that, the strategy.
So from this, after you get back, you go to school,
Yeah.
You graduate.
Graduate.
You start murdering all these contests.
Yep.
And then at some point in time, you're like, I'm gonna go back to school again.
Yeah, I mean, I think all the big decisions I've ever made in my life, I don't even know, I overthink stuff a lot, but I feel like I just decided that on a whim. Like I was on the phone with my mom and she was like, well, something about like, oh, you're turning 26, like your health insurance is gonna, like you should think about, and I was kind of just like, I think I'm gonna go back to school, like just kind of threw it out there. And I think what it really was is that I was getting really bored with skating and with whatever it was that I was like living in LA and having like no structure and like no, I mean, I feel like when I'm in LA, I feel like I'm kind of like floating anyway. Like I don't.
Everything's like too perfect. Like it's 80 degrees every day.
Yeah, same day every day. And like, do I want to drive here? No, that's too far. Like, I'll just stay in this little bubble in the sun. I don't know. Like I was just wanted something else basically. And yeah, and I wanted, well, I was really excited about, like, for architecture, like, for a master's, you apply, I mean, there's tests you have to take and all of that, but it's mainly, like, a portfolio, and I think the idea of, like, I wanted to, like, make my portfolio and, like, start working, like, go back into projects I had and make new projects and just, like, have something to, like, throw myself into that wasn't skating.
So did you quit all your sponsors again?
No. But what was it? It kind of just like trickled out because I was skating for S again, and then S went out of business. And then I was skating for Organica, and that just kind of like, I don't know, there was some weird, like I remember the first X Games I won, they were like, oh, we want to turn you pro, we want, like there was all this, and then that just kind of like, nothing ever, that just didn't happen, and then the community, I mean, a lot of my friends were on Organica, like Carl's amazing, and
He's all right. No, I'm just kidding.
and I was like, Zach Lyons is like one of my really good friends, and that's how I got on, and then Walker and whatever. But I don't know. I had enough boards to last me for so long, and I was kind of just like,
You're like, whatever.
I mean, I moved back to New York and don't think I ever gave them like that address. So it just kind of like didn't.
So it kind of just like fizzled away.
Yeah. I didn't like call up and say, okay, I'm back to school. Like I quit again. No, it just kind of like fizzled out. But I moved back to New York and I had money saved from contests. So that was my plan, is to like pay for grad school.
That's amazing.
With that. Yeah, and then I also, I mean, architecture, you can get like pretty good scholarships for that. So that was part of, yeah, so I didn't have to pay that much and I had money saved. So it was basically like 3.5 year commitment to be in school kind of for free. And that,
sounds great.
Like to me, that's ideal. So yeah, so I moved.
So we can probably definitely, I think we can say, you're the only pro skater with a master's degree.
No, we can't, no.
Yeah, we can say that. There's no other one.
Ocean Howell has like a PhD.
Does he? Oh,
Yeah.
All right, Ocean Howell, all right, you.
No, there must be other, I mean, yeah, don't put me on the spot. I don't know the list, but I'm not the only one. But yeah. Yeah, so I went back and did my master's.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
They say like, they kind of say like smart people are like sometimes more depressed. I've been depressed my whole life. I like to think that I'm smart.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that or I don't know.
I mean, I can only speak for myself. Like,
yeah, of course, no,
I mean,
for
I
yourself.
definitely have ups and like highs and lows,
Yeah.
but I think, I don't know. I feel like doesn't everyone? I don't know.
So, yeah.
Maybe not. I feel like definitely a lot of skaters. Skaters are.
Yeah, we're kind of.
I don't know, like smart or not, but just a little crazy.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's very true. So I saw that that plaza you just designed in Malmo.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Thanks.
Sick. And then from above, it looks like a face, right?
Yeah.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Pretty randomly, my friend Sarah Merla, I actually
know her.
Okay, I don't know how to pronounce her last name the Swedish way, but she's a good friend, and she invited me to come out to Malmo for Skate Malmo, this event that they have. It's like a contest, but it's a lot cooler than a contest. It's kind of just, skate around and film it. So I went out for that the previous year, or maybe 2 years ago. And I met this guy, Gustav Eden, who's like skateboard director, like part of the city council in Malmo. Because skateboarding there is really...
Yeah, it's a big thing.
It's a big thing, and the skaters have a really good relationship with the city, and they have like, money to do certain things that, but so I had met him, and he kind of called me up randomly or wrote me and said, we want to invite 3 designers to make skatable sculptures, skatable installations in Malmo. Are you interested? And I was yeah. Yes. It sounded too good to be true. The whole time I was like I just kept waiting for that to like not really happen because it just seemed like such a cool project. But then the timeline after that was like really quick. Like I was on a skate trip. I had like a month and a half to design it and finish everything, and then it was built like 2 months after that. Like it was really quick. Like
that's fast.
Yeah, the whole thing happened in like 3-4 months. But I had the weeks that I had to design it. I happened to be like on a skate trip in Portugal, so I was like in the van drawing,
really?
and I had like clay with me that I was like at night in the hotel room. I was like trying to model it with clay and then modeling on my computer and just trying to... Did
it turn out exactly how you wanted it?
I mean, nothing ever does. I mean, yes, and that it, like, I don't know. The curse is, I feel like everything I make, I'm so obsessed with the whole time. Like, I can't think about anything else. And I always hate everything I make in the end, like, or partway through.
Like that,
yeah. So the fact that I don't hate it, I mean, I think that means it's a success for me.
Is that the first project that you've done, kind of mixing skating with architecture?
Yeah. I mean, in school I did this, like, I don't know what class it was even for, some programming class, and I like did something with a skateboard, and I like wrote a program that turned like the accelerometer data from your skating into like a drawing, and
I saw something about that.
Yeah.
I wanted to see the drawing.
It was like not. I mean, it's like in the code. Like I could read. I don't know. It's like a school project. You have like 24 hours to make something. But yeah, no. This was the first.
Cool.
Like.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And what's coming up? You working on any other like projects in that realm or? There was hopefully going to be one in Portugal, but then that I haven't heard anything in a long time for that. And maybe I don't know. Maybe there's one other that maybe I'm. Gotta keep it under wraps for now. Well, there's just not enough to even talk about. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to be like. And these are both in like skateboarding is incorporated in these two? Yeah. Oh, sick. Yeah. Cool. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do. Yeah, I hope I do something. I hope it happens. What about projects like just architectural stuff outside of skating? No, I'm not doing any architectural projects outside of skating other than, I mean, it's been mainly, been really into kind of sculpture stuff, like less, I'm not building any houses or anything. And honestly, I mean, I wouldn't be that sad if I never did. Yeah. But we'll see. I have a lot of like other projects I've been working on, but not architecture per se.
and I don't know, I've been I do like the graphics and animations for Weekend, and that takes up some amount of time, and I'm working on this. Yeah. Been trying to finish this book forever. That's like a graphic novel that's tied to architecture, but that takes forever. So I have all these kind of.
How do you joke?
I just work all the time. Yeah, just work all the time. I mean, which I like. That's just how I am.
You ever go on vacation? Like a proper vacation, like
put the phone down, put the computer
like,
down.
Yeah, like you're chilling on the beach and like for a week and just
I have no desire to do that.
No?
I probably really should. It would probably like really do me a lot of good.
Yeah, you got to disconnect for like a week, at least once a year.
I'm like a workaholic. I don't know. Like this is like, yeah, I don't know.
I feel like it's good because once you come back, you're even more like, okay, let's.
No, absolutely. Like everything you're saying is true and right and accurate. I just like can't. I don't know. I just have too much stuff I want to do, and I already feel like time just passes too fast. There's not enough like.
Yeah. So like kind of switching it up a little bit. I'm from SF, so I have to ask you.
Yeah.
You lived in SF?
Yeah, a little bit. I tried.
For how long?
6 months.
Yeah.
But I was traveling it wasn't a fit. I found a 6-month sublet in this like really nice apartment for like not $1 million.
What part of
town? It was like Diviz and like right by the like Painted Ladies.
Oh,
kind of, right, Alamo Square.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And I don't know. Trevor was living there, and my friend Evan, and it was like a good. It was right after grad school. And I knew I wanted to get out of Boston. And I don't know, I just had like a breakup. So I was kind of like, didn't want to go back to New York. I just wanted something new. And I always wanted to try SF because it's like really beautiful city.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't like living in LA, and I thought maybe SF. But yeah, I don't think I gave it like a fair chance. I think it was more of like I needed something else. And I always knew I was going to go back to New York. Because within a month, I was like...
You're like,
everything feels slow compared to New York. Or a lot of places do,
Super slow.
And I was always cold in SF. It's like, I should have been wearing a winter jacket. No, it was kind of like slower, and I fractured my kneecap, and that was kind of like it ended with I just remember the last month I was there, because I went to Europe for like a couple months of the 6 months that I was like living in SF. And then I fractured my kneecap in Europe, but didn't know it was fractured, and I was like, oh, it's gonna get better, it's fine. And I remember getting back to SF, and the last month was like just walking up a lot of hills on a fractured kneecap, and it was pretty brutal.
Damn, that sounds.
Yeah.
San Francisco with a fractured
But lately
kneecap
I've really.
sounds fucked up.
Yeah, but lately I've really. I haven't been back in a while, so I've been missing it. I think it's just a place I like to visit. I think I just like the East Coast better.
Yeah, I feel you.
And I love New York.
Well, yeah, I think we maybe missed something, right? So you went to, after you got your master's degree, then how did you, get back into skating? Like, you're like, okay, I'm done with that now.
Well,
let me get back into this.
Well, I was doing, all through grad school, I was doing contests. So that was kind of like a shit show, because I would go, have my review a day early and then fly to somewhere after having like in the middle of Boston winter, so I hadn't even skate, and then jump down a rail or something like that. But I was, well, like I said, I moved to SF, and Trevor was living there, and Trevor skated for Weekend, and he introduced me to those guys, and yeah, I don't know, at some point.
And then it just kind of like progressed from there.
I don't know, one night, I thought it was cool, and I liked what they were doing, but I didn't want to like put any pressure on Trevor to like
Yeah.
get me on. Like I didn't want to put him in that position, and he like didn't bring it up really at all. And then one night, like he was just like, just skate for a weekend. Like as if it was always an option, and I didn't. I don't know. I was like, really? Okay.
Is that when you get out of school the second time is like, what is it that you wanted to do? Like at that point in time, you're like, how did you see your life?
I mean, I didn't want a normal job.
Yeah.
This is like the same. I feel like this is just the I like working on projects, and I like school, but I mean, I worked for some architecture firms. I worked throughout my master's, like just as a research assistant, teaching assistant, stuff like that. And I worked in the summers for different like architecture firms and for like different professors and stuff. And I had kind of a sweet deal like at the one of the professors, like the practice that he ran that I was working for. When I graduated, he let me, like, I was finishing up a project, so I could kind of like work remotely from SF. So I had money from that. But I don't know, I just had some money saved and
just kind of like going with the flow, figuring it out.
Yeah, I just I knew I didn't want to like apply to firms. I just like don't. I mean, if I can just if I can work for myself for the rest of my life, like that is a huge goal.
You're telling me.
Yeah, so I was basically just avoiding a regular job, I mean, I worked at a cafe when I came back. Like I like working in restaurants. I like working when you like places where you can like keep busy. I just don't like kind of desk jobs, in my experience. But yeah, so skating just kind of, I don't know, I started skating for a weekend. Somewhere along the way, I started doing graphics. So I was getting paid for that. And
you do all their graphics?
It's me and Trevor's fiance, Aaliyah. She's like graphic design, and I do the art. Anything like, we split it, basically. Okay. Like she usually does more of the apparel. I do most of the boards, but sometimes that switches. It's kind of just like, it's like a little family. It's Grant who runs it, and then Aaliyah and I do.
They're based out of LA though, right?
Yeah, they do. Aaliyah and I do the graphics, and Trevor now does sales. He was working in the warehouse, now he does sales. So like I was out there a few weeks ago, and we had to finish up a season, and like the catalog was due, and like Aaliyah and Trevor, that's where I stay when I go to LA. I sleep on their couch. And so we were all at the office till like midnight, and we just like all drove home together, like in one car, like as a, but yeah.
So you went to SF, you never did the Barcelona, like you never hung out there?
Barcelona?
Yeah.
No. No, I mean,
I don't picture you as a
skated.
person who would just like lurk in Barcelona and like piling out.
Yeah, I skated in Barcelona. That was my first time out of the country.
Yeah.
I went on a trip when I was like 17 to Barcelona, just my friend and I, and skated Machba and got mugged in Machba and I don't know, had a great time.
You had the full experience. But no, I never lived out there. I want to live in Paris. Yeah.
Someday.
I kind of wanted to live in Paris too.
I mean, it's just magic.
My girlfriend just went there and she's like, we gotta buy a house in Paris. I was like,
say yes.
Okay. Alrighty then. Yeah. Let me film a couple more podcasts.
You're gonna be able to buy one in Paris before you can buy one in New York, for sure. But yeah.
I know we kind of touched a little bit on this earlier, but like, how do you feel about like female skaters being hot from a corporate standpoint? Like they're hot right now.
Yeah.
Like what do you see? Like a lot of companies are like marketing that and kind of like trying to cash in on that.
Yeah.
Like, how do you kind of feel about that?
Like
I think it's more power to. Like I think it's cheesy, but take the money and run. Like get it.
For sure.
Know?
I mean, anytime if you look at anything through that lens, it's kind of like some marketing higher up person that doesn't have to do with skateboarding, like trying to capitalize off skateboard. I mean, that story didn't start with
everything. Yeah, exactly.
And I think, I think it's about time that girl skaters get paid something. And I think that it's just, as long as I think it's the responsibility of the companies to invest, though, it's weird now, I feel like, with social media and with these kind of popularity and marketability is already like numerically determined. Like someone can just be like, oh, well, this person has a lot of followers, and so this is where we should put our money. And I just think that that's, good for that person, and but also, like, as long as the girls that are really like killing, like that skate, that are really fucking amazing skaters, like they should also get,
of course,
get what's due. So,
well, like I said, I'm take that money and get it.
Yeah.
You know what? Fuck it. If they want to give it to you, like, hey.
Yeah. Everyone has to make a living,
sure.
And so.
I saw that like Letitia Buffoni posed for ESPN thing, and she kind of got like a lot of backlash.
Yeah.
I think she posed naked.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that? Like, do you think that female skaters should only sell skateboarding or not sell like sex or?
I think it comes down to like, if she wanted to do that and she felt comfortable doing that, like, I've known her for a long time. She's like fearless skateboarder. Like works really hard at what she does. Am I ever gonna do what she does? Like, no, but she's never, she's just being herself. And if that's what she wants to do, then go for it. I'm not gonna, who am I to criticize that? I just think, what I'm saying is it's problematic if she were the only girl making money in skating, like that would be a problem, because that's not her fault, because she's just doing what she wants to do, and she has a certain look, and she has if she wants to use all of her talents, like go for it. But if someone else doesn't look like that or doesn't feel comfortable doing that, but is really talented as a skater and wants to do it a different way, like there should be a way to do that too, So I don't know.
It makes perfect sense. Me personally, everybody should do whatever the fuck they want to do.
Yeah, I guess that's basically what I'm trying to say.
Like if you're not hurting anybody, fucking, you want to ride around on tutus, blowing bubbles, go for it. I don't know. Whatever, anything you want to do. Like,
as long as it's not like,
as long as you're not hateful or hurting anything else. But everybody's so judgmental of what other people do. I never understood that. Why do you care what somebody else does with their own fucking life? Right? Like, I don't give a shit.
And then why do you talk about it on like a forum? Or like, why? I don't know. I don't know. Because, I don't know.
Whatever. People are crazy.
Yeah.
We had BA on the show, and one of the interesting things that we talked about was his role now as an activist.
Yeah.
And how it's kind of like a double-edged sword, where he's like, he has more responsibilities now, and people kind of look to him more like, now he can't just do some of the normal things that he wants to do,
Yeah.
Do you, which is interesting to me, because to hear that, do you participate in any activism, or is that something you're interested in, or in any sense?
Yeah, I think I'm interested in it. I think I'm kind of like a shyer person, so maybe I'm not like, haven't been out there in like certain like loud ways, but I think that it's, you know, amazing. I mean, BA is like my favorite skateboarder growing
like
up.
the best dude ever.
Yeah, and so I think that, I mean, the added pressure he's talking about and that responsibility is, he's putting that responsibility on himself, and that says something
it's a
about
choice that he's making.
Right, which is, I mean, really respectable, because I think he's recognizing like, okay, well, people are looking at me for something, and so I want to do things a certain way. I don't know. I mean, I'm about to be in a pride shoot for Converse next week, I think. So
Dope.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
Cool. I'm gonna
Yeah.
check it out. I was gonna ask you about Con. That was my next question.
Okay.
You just got on the team.
Yeah, I did.
Congrats.
Thanks.
The video was awesome. The little
Thanks.
welcome to the team video.
Thank you.
How
Yeah.
did that what do you? So I was gonna ask you what's your next project, but you're working on that.
Yeah,
and
well,
what-
that's more of that's like Converse global, not Con skate, you know, or whatever. Yeah, I'm working on a part. Basically, the welcome video we put out was, I have like footage that I've been saving, and we were gonna put that out as along with the welcome stuff. But then we decided to just hold on to what I have, because I'm gonna try to put out a longer part. Hopefully by the summer,
Yeah.
I don't know, like as soon as possible.
Where's that part at? You promised us.
Yeah. But yeah, I have.
What about you? Are you doing any colorways or like
Yeah.
anything like that coming?
Yeah. I mean, so maybe it'll all line up sometime in the summer. Yeah, colorway, and I don't know. It's supposed to be secret.
Is it? All right, we don't have to edit that out.
Yeah, colorway. Hopefully a part. I just don't know if it's gonna be in time for the colorway, basically.
Cool.
So, and it's really cold here right now, so it's hard to imagine.
sucks.
But I've been traveling a lot to warmer places, so
Nice.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
And what about like architecturally? Any goals there? Anything you want to do or?
I want to. I'd really like to get to do another skatable sculpture or any kind of. I mean, I'm really into sculpture in general, basically, and so I've been making smaller scale things, and it'd be great if I got the chance to do another project like Malmo, because that was kind of a dream project, but I mean, we'll see if I could like weasel my way into something else like that.
And what about artistic stuff? Like, are you
Yeah.
gonna have any art shows or?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
You got a lot going on.
I have a lot. Yeah. Well, so I've been kind of working on a bunch of stuff that I'd like to have. I'd like to have it all in a show, maybe towards the end of the year. I'm trying to maybe talk to Converse about helping with that. I don't know. I mean, that's. I've never had like a solo show in New York. And that'd be kind of a big
That'd be a big deal.
dream,
yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. We'll see if I don't want to call anything out because nothing's actually planned. But in my dreams and hopes, that's like on the horizon. Yeah. So
Cool.
just been working on a lot of stuff towards that, wherever that is.
That's cool.
Sure.
You know what I like about your story is that I feel like you really focused on creating the life that you want.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes when you're in the middle of something, like it doesn't seem, I mean for me anyway, it doesn't seem like you're building something until like years down the line when you're like, oh shit, and you kind of can sit back and look and think like, look at what I've done for myself. You
Yeah.
know, when you're in the middle of it,
Right.
you're like, fuck, I don't know what I'm doing. It's this
I hope so. I
stressful,
hope I have that moment because I feel like I'm starting to think like maybe I'm that person that's just, not to say I'm never content, but I'm always like, okay, well, now I need to do, like, I'm always like, well, I need to do this. Now I need to do, it's like one project. It's like I have tunnel vision and I'm always just kind of like fully working on something. and have no like perspective on how it's.
But I guess
like I never sit back and appreciate like,
Yeah.
okay, this is good. I'm doing what I want to be doing. Like I should be happy about this. And I mean,
Yeah, you'll get there.
Yeah. Are you there? Did you get?
No, I don't think I'm there. No, definitely not. But I mean, I think we'll all get there at some point, you know?
Yeah, but yeah, thanks for, yeah, I mean, I think that it's, I don't know. I think people are always, not always, but when they talk to me are trying to like make sense of my story. Like, oh, so architecture, so now you're doing this. And I'm like, well, no, I'm not really. I'm kind of doing this.
Yeah.
Or kind of, and yeah, I guess I just feel I have to be really fully invested in whatever it is that I'm doing. But yeah, like I don't really know how it all fits together. I'm just kind of
just doing it.
One project at a time, one thing at a time.
That's the attitude that, like, the way you do things, it's like, that's why you are where you are, because you're like, I'm not going to stop and think about it. I'm just going to keep doing shit and fucking keep going.
Well, I think a lot about it, but I'm still doing, yeah.
What's your, like, so now living in New York, what's your day-to-day like?
Well, I've been traveling a lot, so like I was saying before, I mean, I feel like these days when I'm in New York, that's my vacation.
Because you're like at home to chill.
I'm like finally here. I've been traveling a lot for like skate trips. But I live in Crown Heights. I have an art studio in Bushwick. So I've been.
It's kind of close. That's close.
It's
Crown Heights to
bikeable.
Bushwick,
Everything's further in the cold, but it's like
true.
it's close enough. So I've been working on stuff there a lot. I guess my day is. Every day is like kind of different, but I always have some kind of graphics I'm trying to work on. Usually some animation. I'm trying to like write that goddamn book. Yeah, I'm writing the novel.
You should get a ghostwriter. You get a ghostwriter. You tell them, hey, this is what I want, and they write it for you.
Basically, yeah. I mean, it's kind of just a little bit of everything every day. Yeah. Skating at some point when I need to, like, escape from sitting down.
Where do you skate at? Do you ever go to LES?
Not lately. But yeah. But not since it's been cold. Yeah. But and I really like it there, but sometimes it's so crowded. Like I keep having goals to go early in the morning, and that never. Yeah,
I've been trying to do that for like 7 years. Yeah, I never.
Yeah, let
me
know.
We're gonna go
text
at like
me. I'll
10 in the morning, and then they're like.
Yeah, I have really good flat ground outside of my house right now.
That's cool.
They repaved it.
Nice.
So I skate there pretty often.
Awesome.
I don't know. I live right near like the Brooklyn Museum, like the Children's Museum.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So there's that park.
Is that like by Eastern Parkway?
Yeah.
Kind of over there?
Yeah, like between Atlantic and Eastern Parkway. Like.
Nice.
And I don't know, it's different every day.
So, I mean, with everything that you've done, like going back to school, and then what keeps, a few times you went back to school. Yeah. What motivates you to keep coming back to skating and like, because it's tough. It's like not something like physically, you know, you quit, you start again. Not that you ever quit, but like, you know, if you don't do it every day, you kind of lose it, you know? Right. And so what is it that drives you to keep coming back to skateboarding?
I mean, I guess it's just I feel like there's more in me. Like I have more I want to do, and to me, skating and project like art stuff there are a lot of similarity. I mean, it's like everything is love hate kind of. Like I need to be doing it, but I also sometimes really hate it, and that's how I feel about all the projects I work on. Like I was saying before, and also skating. It's like, I mean, sometimes it's not the same as when you're like 10 years old, but sometimes it is. Like I still have like a list of tricks I want, like things I want to do. And I still, you know, you see, you just have ambitions.
love
you
it,
just have stuff you want to
basically.
do,
It's
basically, and
It's
you're
like your
like,
first love.
yeah, and I think that there's something nostalgic about it, and something it's not like anything else. It's kind of like I don't like regular jobs. I don't want to go to the same place every day and do the same thing. And skating is kind of like possibilities are limitless, and wherever you are, there's always a project. There's always like something you could do. You see a spot, and you're like, maybe I could do that, and then it just becomes something you're obsessed with, and that you're like, okay, let's add it to the list. I want to do that. So I think that it's just kind of like, I mean, I'm not young. It's not gonna be forever. I don't like to think about that, but
I mean, it could be forever.
It could be forever.
I mean, you can ride a skateboard.
Oh yeah,
forever.
but I mean,
yeah, getting paid and
all that. And so I think it's just, I have more left in me, so I'm doing it.
Nice.
Basically,
Respect.
Thank
you for coming back.
Yeah.
As a fan, I'm appreciative. 10 years from now, what do you see yourself? What are you gonna be doing?
I don't know.
You gonna maybe take
I'm
that
gonna
vacation
be like
finally?
a famous artist with a graphic novel that came out and a great skater. I don't know. It's probably still in the same situation where I'm like, I'm like working on 20 things. Hopefully I'm just working on a lot of things that I really like.
Awesome.
And hopefully living in New York or maybe Paris.
Or in between the both?
In between, I'll have a place in Paris.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, fuck, I don't know. Does that mean I have to have a family? Oh my God, 10 years?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you want one.
Hopefully doing a bunch of cool stuff that I like. I have no idea.
Well, it sounds good to me.
Yeah.
That's a wrap. Mission Statement, Episode 7. Alexis Sablone, thank you for coming through.
Thanks for having me.
All right, peace.